little bit of a history, but that's okay. Russ, how are you?
Pretty good. How you doing, Steve?
I'm doing great. We're at the Les Paul Julien's auction.
Yes.
Here in Beverly Hills, day 2.
Day 2.
How's it going?
Excellent. Excellent.
Now, how did we do yesterday?
Excellent. It was a very good turnout, and it was excellent bidding and everything else. So I was very, very proud of it. But it's tearing me up inside because it's like a big family, and they're just pulling all my little children away. But I know where most of it went, and it's going. So it's going to mostly to the museum. So it'll be put out where Dad would like to see it.
That's good. I did notice there were a lot of museum representatives, collectors, people who care about Les and want to really take care of this stuff.
Big time museums are all here, so, and if they're not here, they're online.
Now the touring rigger is playing rig.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me who bought that and how much that went for.
I don't think that didn't come up yet.
It didn't?
No. You're talking about his pedal box and stuff?
Oh, not that. The one that Carrie bought yesterday?
Oh, you mean the road equipment?
Yeah.
With an Nakamichi with it.
Right.
That's part of the stuff that they use. A couple speakers, a head, and an Nakamichi, which they used to play along with. The Nakamichi would be having the tracks on it, and then Mary and Dad would play live. And then it would be fed to the band, which the band had charts, and they played along with it. So that's what made it so big.
Right.
And they started something there that later on everybody tried to do it. The Ramones, all of them tried to copy that kind of thing, but it's very hard to do.
Well, you know, and as much stuff as is here, I remember when I visited the house, there were like stacks of guitar boxes or guitar cases and rooms full of.
Most of them are all here.
And most of them are all here. How do you have any idea or quantify how many guitars were part of this particular auction?
There are probably maybe 200 or 300 guitars here.
And what's not here? I mean, there's other there are other items going to other places.
Yeah, but we kept out stuff for the museums, like the 8-track, the console, sound on sound. A few of Dad's guitars, Django Reinhardt's guitar, the Selmer, stuff like that we kept because it was so important to keep those. A couple of the mics that had the NBC on them, for history purposes, we kept them.
Right.
And that's where we take around to the different museums and stuff like that. And they'll be in Grammy museums. They're going to be all over the place. So.
Now the expectations have been exceeded as far as what the auction was going to generate for the foundation.
Well, there's huge amount of collectors. I'm with one of them here in New York now that came in with me, and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is here. Hard Rock Cafe, the guy that builds all those. I was talking to him yesterday rather. He's here. There's a couple other museums. One's from Nashville. There's another one there's a couple guys I know from Japan that were very good friends with Dad that are multi-millionaires, and money is no object. And they really go crazy over this kind of stuff. And Dad was over in Japan about 9 times, so they got to know these guys real well. And they just sit up there and with their computer, and they go after this stuff. But most of the guys that are buying the stuff, I noticed, are guys that respect Dad for what he was, and the others are museums, which will make sure that it's exploited and people see it, and that's where Dad wanted. Because we got a big museum up in Milwaukee at Discovery World. So Discovery World has the biggest layout right now. The next one to that would be at Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the 2nd floor.
When are the items going to go to the Smithsonian officially?
I don't know if there's going to be going there because the problem is with Smithsonian, they want to own it for one. The other one, they want to put one piece out, put the rest in the warehouse. Dad says, no, I don't want that.
I remember him telling me it was all or nothing.
It does no good to be in a warehouse.
Right.
Nobody learns from it, nothing. So he said, I want to have it out, otherwise I don't want to put it there.
Now, what's coming up as far as foundation plans? I know that there are some projects in the works and some releases coming up.
There's a lot of projects in the works. I can't talk about those yet.
What can you talk about?
None of them at the moment, because they're in the works for it, but they're big. They're real big.
Very good.
I've been approached by the Rock of Ages to work on the New York side. They've been approached by other people on the West Coast side, and it looks like we're going to have a real big thing coming up, so that's good, you know. But I'm getting ready to take my band out on the road, and we're going to be promoting Dad, and we'll be playing in Nashville all over the place, and we're going to do master classes at schools and stuff like that, colleges, talk about them, keep the younger set now aware of what's going on with us. So this is important, you know.
So
And we guys got to go out there and promote it. And I've got all the musicians, the major guys, Slash, Freely, Robert Randolph, they're all willing to pitch in with me. Richie's supposed to be here today sometime with me, and he's periodically calling me. I talked to Robert not long ago. I'm doing a big show in New York in October with Best Buys, and I'm going to have most of the guys there for that, but they all want to get in on this with me.
What about Paige?
Jimmy, I got word, he said to say hello, and I got people getting me his phone number where I can get in touch with him. He was the main one I was worrying about because he wasn't playing. And I said, of all people, Jimmy should be out there playing because he's as important as Jeff Beck.
I was just going to mention
And
Jeff, yeah.
Beck is, I'm on top of him all the time too. In fact, I saw his manager yesterday, and he's going to get word to Jeff to call me. He's home right now in the UK.
You know,
he is a wonderful guy. I was with him in the past year now, probably about 5 times.
you know, one thing I noticed when I walked in, obviously there's just the array of guitars is almost overwhelming, and they're beautiful. From even if you don't play guitar, you still have to appreciate the beauty of the instruments and the variety of them. But one thing that doesn't come across in video and photographs and so forth is the smell. You know, and I don't mean that in any kind of negative sense,
No.
but when I was at the house, there was a certain, you know, aroma, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, that was I'm not exactly sure what it was, but I think it had a lot to do with the gear and the guitars
Sure.
and a little dust here and there, you know. But there was, as soon as I walked into these back rooms here,
You noticed it.
I smelled, it was like, wow, it's like smelling bacon when you go home, you know, when you were a kid. It was just, that was my take. What do you feel about it? I mean, you're obviously much closer to it.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, it turned out to be a beautiful guitar from that little log in the Epiphone in New York in 14th Street when he first built that. And the headless guitar at that particular point also, which people didn't know. I was talking to Johnny Winters 2 weeks ago, and Johnny and I sat and talked for an hour before he went on the show, and we got talking about the log and the headless guitar, and he says, I didn't know your dad did the headless guitar in 41 too. And I says, yeah, he was way ahead of himself. And he didn't tell me, but he ended up playing the first show out there where he was playing with a headless guitar, and he didn't say anything about it. But I noticed it, and I said to him, well, I see you're playing the headless, right? So, by the way, he's playing real good. He's straightening his act up, and he feels a lot better, and he's doing a lot better.
We've seen him playing out a lot. He's got a new album out too,
I know.
so it's good time for him.
Yep, and I got him too. I'm trying to book him into the Iridium for 3 days too. That's going to be a good one. We just had Mick Taylor in there for 6 days. He did 12 shows, packed the place out every night, and he's going on the road too again, from what I hear. So I got a lot of good friends out there, and they're like Bonamassa and all the guys. They're all ready to go out there, and I left an open invitation. I says, I'm not going to announce you to come up. I said, I'm going to have the amp sitting up on the stage. They'll be ready for you. You just walk up, plug in. And whether it's Billy Gibbons or Beck or it's Richie Sambora, it doesn't matter. I said, it's just going to be a family affair. And the first thing I'm preaching out on that thing is friendship first. Friendship is more important than the music. Music is the second. But for friendship, you can't buy that, you can't sell it, you can't manufacture it. It's all got to come from the heart. And that's why I want to get this to go on the road and do this and have these guys get together with me and we just make it one massive thing across. And just have everybody talking about that and let them know. The guys, when they get up on that stage, they know the story, but the public doesn't. But when they find out why they're in with me and why they're up there on that stage, then it's another story, because now they're going to hear it right from the people that they appreciate seeing. Whether it's Richie, whether it's John Bon Jovi, whether it's Ace. Ace said, I'd do the surprise for you. And I said, what? And I just saw him in New York at the B.B. King's. He said, I put you and your dad at the end of my book.